In the summer of 2020, I set out to attempt a solo bike tour from my home in Seattle to the top of Hurricane Ridge and back. On paper, my plan made sense, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to snag campsites each night, climb the 5,000 plus feet to the top of Hurricane Ridge, or cope with being 5 days alone. With these doubts in mind, I set out on a defining journey full of highs, challenging moments, and many lessons. Enjoy. My journey began the day before I left at a local Safeway near my home, stocking up on enough food to sustain me for the 200-plus mile journey that lay ahead. Though all the food was quite heavy, I wanted to be self-sufficient and not have to worry every day about getting food. Once I had everything, I crammed all my possessions into 2 rear panniers, a dry bag, and a small handlebar bag, ready for my departure the next morning. Okay. Off we go.
Will you come back to say goodbye?
Yeah. Oh, I think we're gonna do that. After taking a ferry from downtown Seattle to Bainbridge Island, I kept on pedaling west until I made it to Paulsbo, a touristy town with a Scandinavian theme. I stopped for around 2 hours to eat lunch, explore the waterfront, and have some delicious Mora ice cream. But eventually it was time to get back on the bike.
This road's pretty empty, but it's not too hot, luckily. I think in a couple of miles I'll reach the campground.
Luckily, at Kitsap Memorial State Park, I managed to snag the last of the hiker-biker sites, and since I arrived at around 3 o'clock, I had plenty of time to relax and unwind. As I headed out on the second day of my journey, I couldn't help thinking how much better this trip was going than my first bike tour a couple weeks before. It had been a punishing 2-day, 150-mile journey to Deception Pass State Park on Whidbey Island, with the constant pressure to keep on pedaling in order to cover such a long distance. By planning my route so I would never cycle more than 50 miles per day this time, I gave myself the time to stop at points of interest.
What is that? Is that a submarine or a giant whale?
Enjoy the scenery.
Just get off the freeway and look how nice this road is. All to myself.
And make frequent stops to take photos and videos. This really made my ride so much more enjoyable. I continued pedaling on quiet country roads and busy highway shoulders, stopping to eat my lunch on a park bench. Eventually, I reached the place where my sister
Luce and I started our Olympic Discovery Trail walkathon a year ago. And now I'm going to be biking on the same trail.
It was cool to experience the beauty of the trail again and to see it from a new perspective. Accomplishing the day's goal of reaching the Dungeness Recreation Area campground, I had my pick of all 8 hiker-biker sites. With a few hours of daylight left, I took the chance to go down to Dungeness Spit, the longest natural sand spit in the nation and the namesake of the campsite. What a great way to end my second day on the road. Lowering my food from a tree so I could make breakfast, I tried to prepare myself for the day ahead, which would be the toughest of the trip. Not only would I have to cycle almost 50 miles, I would also have to ascend over 5,000 feet to the top of Hurricane Ridge. Luckily, I was able to savor a few more blissful miles along the Olympic Discovery Trail before my long uphill journey began. About to enter Olympic National Park. This is my climb up Hurricane Ridge. Still have a ways to go until I reach the campground. This hill is so steep. Not even at the campground yet. My heart's beating very fast. Oh my god. This hill is so steep. I'm in my lowest gear and I'm still having troubles. I'm just gonna rest for a little bit. Try to gain some more energy. I left all my stuff at the campsite. And now I'm gonna head up to Hurricane Ridge, just this bag and a light empty bike. Here I go up Hurricane Ridge. I've already done probably around 2.5 miles, 9.5 left to go. I've already been passed, but that's okay. I feel pretty good, but I don't notice that much of a difference of not having my bags on the bike, because my legs are quite tired. I made it halfway, and now I'm going to take a little break and eat my chocolate chip Cliff Bar. Look, there's a deer! Must be within 2 miles now from the top. I'm sweating pretty bad, but I'm going to get there. I came all this way, I'm going to do it. Just made it to the top. Well, I just got to the top of Hurricane Ridge. I'm about to descend, but look what I just found. One of my spokes is completely out. I think I'm gonna try and glue it now. It's gonna be good. I fixed it as best as I could, so I think I will just start to head down. Oh my god, this is the craziest descent ever. I must be going like 30 miles an hour. Woo! I'm almost as fast as the cars. Just finished my descent. Made it to my campground. And now I'm gonna get lots of food. Luckily my wheel did not break or anything. I did not sleep very well. Look at my face. I have everything packed. And now it's time to set off. Well, I found a bike shop I can go to fix my spoke. So I went into the bike store and look what I got. A spoke wrench. Hopefully this solves my problems. Well, I tried using my new tool, but doesn't really work. I'm just gonna have to wait until we get home. It's lunchtime. Here by a little pond. And there's a bunch of fake dogs around here to scare off birds, I would assume. I think we're about 20 miles outside of Port Townsend. I just want to get there. My butt's hurting very bad. My legs are hurting too. You see, I was returning to Seattle on a slightly different route than the way I'd come. I was going to detour up to Port Townsend and then spend the night at Fort Worden State Park campground. Then, the next day, I would continue on to Kingston, where I would take the ferry across to Edmonds, from which it would be only a short 12-mile ride back home. Just said the shoulder's gonna be this narrow for the next 7 miles. This shoulder is crazy narrow. Port Townsend! Almost there. As I battled strong headwinds, I felt conflicting feelings about my trip ending. On one hand, I was sad that my adventure was coming to an end, but on the other hand, I was relieved that soon I wouldn't have to worry about my busted back wheel. Then, 2 hours after setting off, my worst fear came true. I just stopped to take a break, and now I notice that I have 2 broken spokes. And so now the plan is my dad is gonna meet me in Edmonds to pick me up, and I'm just gonna have to bike on 2 broken spokes the rest of the way. It's time to cross the bridge once again. After I met up with my father and sister, we went to a nearby restaurant to have some lunch. It was nice to simply relax and be in the company of others after having to overcome so much by myself. Ultimately, the lessons and confidence I gained from this trip were crucial for the epic 2-month bike tour I did shortly after, from Dresden, Germany to Rome, Italy. Stay tuned for when the video about that journey comes out.